Hi, y'all. This is Michelle Cooper. On this video, what I want to do is be able to show you that once an item is created, how to really track a piece of legislation from start to finish. Now, keep in mind this can also be done depending on the item. The public can do this as well. So I'm going to pull up an example of Bryan, Texas, so that I can show you what the public facing side is going to look like as well as what the back end will look like. And really the biggest differences between the two will be what your public will be able to access and then what your internal folks will be able to see in addition to. All right, so my meetings are set here. It contains all of your information really in one spot. So your agenda, your minutes once they've been voted on and approved, and of course I can go in and I can see the video and jump to specific parts either here or within the agenda itself. So I can access it here as well. What I want to show you is I'm going to pick a specific piece of legislation and I want to be able to track this. So if I am really interested in Charter 130, then this could be in a lot of different places, but from a public standpoint, we're going to just do this dry and see what we come up with. So I'm going to go to search, but keep in mind you can search within the meetings tab. The reason why I like this search is it's a lot more comfortable. We're so used to using Google and being able to see images of things that we're searching for before we dive in and start opening up a lot of different windows. But that's the other concern too, is Board Docs really wants to keep things simple. We want you to find detailed information down to the attachment level, but we don't want you to have 1,000 different windows open because by the end of it, you just want to pull your hair out. So I'm looking for anything that has to do with Chapter 130. And in this case, this is what I'm looking for. But I want to see any type of supplementary documentation that might go with it. So I'm going to pull up this attachment from the December 12th meeting and look through this and make sure that this is what I want. Yep, there's Chapter 130. So if this is what I want, then I'm going to go down to navigate there. And it navigates me not just back to that meeting or back to those minutes or maybe even a library item or where we're keeping things like surveys or forms or even council weekly summaries. Then this is also showing me exactly where on the agenda it is. So no more hunting, no more having to look through action items and summary items and voting information or reports, because a lot of times we don't know if what we're looking for may be considered a report or do we want to look at this as an action item? I want everything in one place. So that's what we've done here. We found Chapter 130. This is the item, and with all of the details, it has to do with a specific goal. I can see what the recommended action is, and any type of attachments and voting information. So if this has been voted on, I can go back and track what the motion, what the resolution has been, and it makes it very clear and very easy to find information. On the flip side of that, as internal folks, we may need more detailed information. So I'll show you how that's done. I'm going to go into my database, and where I would start is the same place. I'm going to search. So in this case, I'm going to search for an ordinance. All right, and keep in mind this may be in different places. It may be on multiple committees, and it may have attachments and details that we want to see, but ultimately it will bring us back to one convenient area. So I can find my information here, or the other thing I love is, let's say I want to go back and track full legislation on an item. I can actually do that in what we call the library section. I can get there by searching, or I can just go up to the library. But what I've done is I've set up actions and resolutions, or you can have past ordinances or voting information. Really, the sky's the limit on how you set this up. But in this case, I want to go back and see every single time that this has been mentioned, in how many different committees and subcommittees that have discussed it, maybe multiple results have been taken, different actions and votes. But again, all of it is in one convenient location, and I can track this item from the beginning of its life cycle to the end of its life cycle, or to where its current progress is. The other thing I can do is, if I want to see a specific meeting or more details, I can click on that meeting and it'll take me back to where exactly that was on that particular meeting, and I can find more details. Lastly, the other thing I can do, and this is what a lot of people like about our strategic goals or tracking of legislation, is that a lot of times I just need to run a report. I just want to tell people what the history of the item. I want to be able to send the progress of something, so you can turn this into PDF and you've got a pre-made report. Or what I want to show you here is if we have other goals, things that sit outside of legislation. I can track things like improvement projects or action plans, or here we go, Santa Monica and their mobility plan. In this case, I can choose whether or not I want to share that ticker, how the progress of it, maybe even the success of it. A lot of people do not necessarily have this part on their public facing side because you see 74, and I think from school we think, oh, it's a C. So we're doing all right. But for us to know that we're three-fourths done with this homeless action plan that we set in place a few years ago, that's tremendous success. So it's up to you as to how you want to display this to the public. In this case, I'm setting up this project, and let's track the improvement plan here because I think I've attached it to more meetings. But this is our public summary, and what Bryan's done is a really great job, and Franklin does this as well, where they include their community in all different aspects of each of their projects. Maybe not every project, but definitely the public facing side to build trust with the community and really get their input. So they're not just tracking projects in accordance to meetings, they're also getting feedback and surveys, and there's a lot of analytics that go with it. But the problem that we have is we don't want to change the way that you're gathering this information. We really want to leverage it in regards to how it's being tracked. So we can take all that information, bring it into board docs, and build out this project. But then we also need a fast, easy, effective way of being able to go back and see when this occurred during meetings. I want to watch part of the meeting video that showed where this was being discussed if I wasn't able to make a meeting on site. So we've got, again, a goal progress, but we can track all the legislation, any results that have taken place, and always go back to each and every one of these meetings. So that is tracking legislation that I showed you a little bit of our progress with goals and plans and maybe strategic initiatives that you have. A lot can be done here, and this can be used by multiple different departments within one organization. They can be public or private. So maybe we just want to track the success of our staff hiring over the next year or so. So just keep that in mind. A lot can be done here, but nobody else is doing this like board docs. We do this in a very simplistic way, but really leverage the work that you're already putting in when you're creating these meetings. All right. Thank you so much for your time. And as always, let me know if you have any questions.